So things were going great in vanilla. The game was hitting off, it was getting attention, and people were already majorly addicted to it. The grind, the atmosphere, the lore, everything. It was a perfect game of the generation. Raids were extremely hard, fun, the community was together in everything. People spoke in every chat channel, grouped up, helped each other, buffed each other, and even slash-waved each other on the way past. South Park even released a video on the 4th of October 2006, giving the game even more advertisement. To this date, it's my favourite South Park episode. The Burning Crusade comes out, all is good, the same that Classic was. Flying mounts sort of kill world PvP, but Arena was just introduced, so the elitism starts to get wild on the game. People get super competitive about ratings and WoW movies, forgetting the fun of the past. The lore and their zones were beautiful, amazing. Raiding is still a mighty challenge, and those with warglaives were respected. Sunwell was probably the hardest raid under vanilla AzAMOuS. It's worth noting that Blizzard merged with Activision at this point. Wrath of the Lich King comes out. Death Knights are introduced as the first hero class, which turned out majorly broken at the start of the expansion, and introduced mechanics we've never seen before, annoying death crypt spams, chain of ice spams, etc. Though it was a good class and not the reason for the game's demise. Heirlooms are introduced. Leveling is made easier, which was bad move number 1. AzAMOuS is revamped and made easier, which can relive the content that they never had a chance to properly go through due to only 1% of retail guilds actually being able to clear it. Blizzard are happy because Wrath of the Lich King was the highest peak of their subscribers, the best expansion to date for Blizzard's success, and it was a good expansion. The balance was just as good as TBC, if not better than the raiding, and it was fun. Still challenging before the nerfs, Arena was at the peak of its elitism. Here's where the problems came. Cataclysm was released. After all the hours of grinding achievements, clearing content and having the mystery of raids, Blizzard pimps out a raid finder, making everyone able to experience the content, granting loot the same model as the high-end raiders, just in a different colour, also killing unique identification within the game, which is a major deal. What's the point in playing if everyone is going to look the same? PvP balance went off the charts. 2v2 is now considered a dead, unbalanced and broken bracket. Now my HP is like 100k compared to Wrath of the Lich King, which was 30k. What is this inflation? Rated battlegrounds are introduced and now everyone can get vanilla titles, and if you didn't check achievements and you think they actually got it in vanilla, you can dungeon finder your way to max level, as well as the store being introduced so you can now buy pets and mounts. What's the point in this expansion if I can just face roll my way to max level and kill the major boss that caused the entire destruction of Azeroth? No build up whatsoever. He should have brought fear into the hearts of the players through the idea of many wipes, but instead brought tears to the hardcore players' eyes because of how easy it was. Guild bonuses are also introduced, which makes leveling even easier, along with the increased amount of heirloom items added to the game, recruiter friend bonuses, etc. Social immersion is slowly dwindling at this point because it becomes a me rather than us. The top players are already emulating to go back in the past and play on arenatournament.com because Arena was a fucking joke. Players like Hydra, Calamis, Retfall, etc. they all played Arena Tournament. Things get progressively worse. Though the lore, atmosphere and graphics are good, Mr. Pandaria was an utter fail. PvP balance was in shambles, Monk was stupidly broken and there was an outrage about their roll ability which sent them flying across the map. People cried for it not to be usable in Arena, their healing spec deemed them unkillable. 2v2 is still a broken bracket, and it looks like they have no way of fixing it no matter what they try and change. Raid Finder was ridiculous still, being able to experience the entire content through a UI function. Most people had never been to the entrance of a dungeon or raid, so they didn't even know where it was. Blizzard kept the players clinging on because of a heirloom at the end of Siege of Orgrimmar raid. Since you got a heirloom at the end, it prepared you for the next expansion. I must have sold so many boosts to everyone to get their heirlooms and earned over 300k gold, which was a giant waste of time in the end. PvP wasn't fun anymore because it took 35 years to kill one person. It didn't feel skill oriented at all, more like a giant waste of time. Warlords of Draenor. Well, if you think they couldn't fuck their game up anymore, you're wrong. They destroyed it, shat on it, and put it in a bag to be sent off to the coast of Shitland McShit. Instead of being able to choose where you want to level and being conscious of doing whatever you want, the game tells you where you can go and what you can do, and you can't do anything else. You have to follow the damn storyline and get the fuck out. Blizzard introduces garrisons claiming it to be the best thing ever, when in reality it's the worst fucking thing they could have ever done.
Be right back. Free herbs and orbs, and I never have to experience Azeroth ever again because I have all my resources right here. Be right back. Facebook simulator game where I can tell people to go on missions in my garrison.
PvE endgame was better than PvP gear, so high-end raiders at the start of the expansion were shitting all over PvP players, plus the world PvP zone that they came up with was always full. Never understood why they couldn't have multiple phases for it. Raid Finder was even easier than before. PvP was absolutely dreadful and there was no such thing as balance, it was as unbalanced as you can get. They introduced a fucking e-store where you can buy max level character, epic mounts and all sorts of shit. What's the point in playing when you can just buy everything in one go? It defeats the challenge and the objective of an MMORPG in every way. And we watch Blizzard claim they are trying to pick up the pieces when they are just shattering it into even more pieces. Appealing to children rather than adults, dumbing down the classes and force feeding us bullshit. You know the game has gone to shit when Ghostcrawler leaves, the guy that was in charge of all the PvP changes in the game, who was the cause of a lot of rage within the community. He leaves, you know shit's fucked up. I never understood why they didn't carry on the RTS genre of Warcraft alongside World of Warcraft. They could have had an amazing RTS explaining the lore, coinciding with the game, but instead they send their developers to finish off Titan, which ended up cancelled anyway. StarCraft II, which was always in the shadow of Warcraft, and no hate on StarCraft, I enjoyed it, but prefer Warcraft. I just don't understand, because Warcraft was their foundation, and they just left it in the dust to rot, whilst us passionate players that grew up playing the games are left wondering where the fuck they are and why it's happened. I personally think that due to Blizzard's negligence, they cannot go back in time and create legacy servers, because they simply don't know how to without reaching out to the people that breached their terms of service in the first place through emulation. They must not have saved the files from their previous expansions. It does not make sense for the company to not go back in time and constantly stay in one failing direction. Even Activision have re-released Call of Duty 4 Remastered because they can see how much they flushed their Call of Duty franchise down the drain. Go and check Infinite Warfare dislikes on YouTube. It's fucking horrible. I personally think Activision is the root of all the problems within Blizzard over the years. The poor decision making, money grabbing, it didn't start like this, but it ended like it. Blizzard died with the Activision merge, and even when they managed to pump out one good expansion with them, like a Lich King, it still shows that they are the game destroyers. It's like Bungie sold their game to another company, but they couldn't give it the same feeling. It's the same for WoW, they cannot recreate. They are trying to go back in time and experience the masterpiece that their shadow of a company once created, because it is better than the current game in every shape and form. Nostalgia is the best private server to ever exist, and Blizzard can stand looking at their old selves in the mirror, seeing how much better they were back then. It's like an old man staring at their youth in their reflection, wishing they can go back. Blizzard have dug a hole that they cannot get out of, and Legion won't be anything special. You can jump on the hype train because it says World of Warcraft at the front, but that isn't a World of Warcraft, because the World of Warcraft that I know was amazing and Legion isn't. You can never recreate the social immersion that Vanilla had, you cannot recreate such greatness. So WoW lives on in memory and emulation. Thanks for watching.